YouTube! I hope you're having an amazing day. I just got done recording the Columbus, Nebraska tornado with some like really crazy good footage, right? So I'm pumped up. I'm ready to rock and roll. I want to see some good nader footage. Nader. This video is by High Risk Chris. Make sure to check him out. I'll have all his information in the description below. Make sure to check him out, please, and thank you. I'm going to be commenting on the video, by the way. Going to be commenting on the video. I expect some replies. Make sure to like his video. This one is going to be about the Parkersburg tornado, the Wall of Death. I had a viewer send this to me in Discord. So if you're interested in just chatting or whatever, you're more than welcome to join the Discord. I have it in the comments. No, not comments, description. Whenever they send me stuff like that, I will not check it out ahead of time just because I like getting like a raw reaction from it, right? But without further ado, Parkersburg. Let's go. Let's get it.
It's late May in 2008, and a family is spending their Sunday
It's
afternoon
always
at a
May.
local restaurant celebrating a recent graduation. After receiving a tornado warning, they go outside to check the oncoming storm, and a massive tornado is heading straight for them. With moments to spare, the family and restaurant staff rush into the safest part of the restaurant, the walk-in cooler. 6 kids and
There's no shot it's that big, right?
8 adults huddle together as the violent tornado overtakes them. The storm system that spawned the Parkersburg
I'm looking forward to seeing a big tornado. I really am, but the wall of I know what's going to happen, and it makes me feel bad for being excited to see big tornadoes.
tornado on May 25th actually began a few days earlier. On May 22nd, a strong mid-level trough overspread the western high plains. This mid-level trough would produce a low-pressure system at the surface, pulling moisture
very
into
good,
the
very
much
good.
higher terrain of eastern Colorado and western Kansas. In Colorado, a large and powerful tornado impacts the town of Windsor, killing 1.
Oh no. R.I.P., dude.
200 miles to the east, a few other supercells produce multiple photogenic tornadoes, causing minimal harm as they move through the...
Yo, look at that little sea. I would like to see one of those in person, out in the middle of a field, not bothering anyone at a safe distance. That's cool, you know? That's cool.
vast open plains of western
We don't need all this
Kansas.
other business.
In the overnight hours, the massive system progresses, forming a newer, even more potent pattern on the 23rd.
Building up that
For a
cake.
second day in a row, extreme shear overlaps an area of moist, unstable...
Hey, look, shear. That's what causes the rotation, right? You need everything in a harmony to cause that rotation, but not too much because it'll destroy itself. It actually, it's super fascinating that all the ingredients have to be near perfect to produce a long-lasting tornado. It's wild.
air. In response, the forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center issue a large, high risk over western Kansas, and they couldn't have been more correct. 79 tornadoes touched down, mostly over western Kansas, with the strongest tornado being an EF5 near the town of Quinter, Kansas.
Ooh, coach Hills, let's get it. I feel like I'm
The
chasing
next
this
day,
thing
on
too.
the 24th, the mid-level winds are slightly less potent than the previous 2 days. However, Mother Nature was restless, and a supercell in north-central Oklahoma puts down a handful of tornadoes, which, of course, is covered on live TV thanks to Oklahoma's unrivaled tornado culture.
Is that Hennessy? Like, the alcohol? Speaking of...
I'm lucky with this so far.
After non-stop tornado action on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, you'd think the tornado chaos would subside, but yet again, the next day, the 500 millibar jet stream persists, overlapping a large region of moist air spanning most of Tornado Alley. The Storm Prediction Center initially puts two areas of heightened tornado potential, with the northern risk centered over Minnesota and Wisconsin. But as the day progresses, tornado risk in this area is extended southwards because of an extremely unique set of circumstances taking shape in northern Iowa. The Sunday morning started out cold and cloudy, but strong moisture advection at the surface begins.
You need heat, man.
Modest dews in the
I was watching something from Reed Timmer. Well, it is one of the storm chasers. Don't quote me on this, but you can't quote me on this part. Essentially, what they said was like, if you go outside and the wind's hitting you and it causes you to get chill bumps because it's cool, you're probably not going to get a tornado.
50s skyrocket into the 70s. Meanwhile, to the north, there's a well-defined surface low transversing the North Dakota-Canada border into Minnesota, adding an extreme amount of spin into the atmosphere. And to make matters worse, a secondary low develops in southern Minnesota. And on top of all that, two different warm fronts develop in central Iowa, giving the storm exactly what it needs to produce a strong tornado. As clouds clear over Iowa, to most, this is just another beautiful late spring day. However, the sun bakes the moist, unstable air at the surface. The blue sky above their heads is like gasoline-soaked brush, and all it needs is a spark to set things ablaze. At 3 in the afternoon, a set of rogue gravity waves appear. These waves are like small ripples in a pond, slightly disrupting the
I've never heard of gravity
atmosphere. And these small ripples have huge consequences. The gravity waves trigger the formation of a group of storms in central Iowa. The storms slowly move across Iowa for an hour before the southern storm begins to dominate, and at 4:30, radar shows that the dominant storm forms a unique feature called a descending reflectivity core. As the downdraft falls to the ground, it impinges the storm's inflow, constricting and tightening.
All right, everybody, lock in. Important information here. Lock in.
Causing the inflow to dramatically intensify. Moments later, a hook forms on radar, and at 4:48 in the afternoon, a large tornado touches down.
So is that what causes the shear to get the rotation going? Is that what he just explained to me? That's the first time in any of these videos I've heard gravity waves. I got some research to do.
South of Applington, Iowa. Before I talk about the Parkersburg tornado, I have to tell you about this game-changing product, Z-Biotics. It's what's called a pre-alcohol. At 4:48 in the afternoon, the dominant supercell produces a large tornado just south of Applington, Iowa. A local less than a mile to the northeast of the circulation records the tornado only moments after it forms.
It's on the ground.
It is. That's not funny. No, it's not funny.
I ain't laughing.
Even though this might not look like a classic tornado, this is unquestionably the start of a tornado because of the swirling dust directly underneath a highly visible mesocyclone.
Holy shit.
Let's get inside.
Alright.
Eventually, the resident goes inside to take cover, but the tornado is just getting started, and it is now heading directly towards the town of Parkersburg. Meanwhile, Chief Deputy Tim Woltoff is on duty, patrolling the area with his 20-year-old son when he spots the tornado to his northwest. His vehicle's dashcam captures this incredible view of the giant tornado as it closes in on town.
Yo, they're warning everybody, right?
Tim, along with other storm spotters in the area, report the massive tornado, and a tornado warning is issued for the town of Parkersburg. It's right at this time.
Get at least a little bit of a heads up, right? Dude. Good job to the police and our storm spotters out there, man, putting in the Lord's work. Here's my thing with storm spotting or chasing as well, man. If you're going to do it, just don't go out there to sightsee and possibly get in the way. Be proactive and help. Call, man. Just, hit 911. Be like, hey, big ass nader headed right for town. Now, I'm sure 911 probably gets sick of getting called over tornadoes, but that's an emergency, right? You're trying to save lives. You can do what you got to do.
Time when a family celebrating graduation at Matt's Bar and Grill receives word of the tornado warning. They go outside to check because 9 out of 10 times nothing ever happens. This time
It's not much of
different.
leeway,
A
but
massive wall of darkness is moving
something's better than
directly
nothing.
towards them. With only moments to act, they run inside and go to the safest spot, the restaurant's walk-in cooler. 6 kids and 8 adults huddle together, knowing these could be their very last moments.
Inside somewhere. It's in Parkersburg. Everybody else out there?
The tornado begins to close the gap on the town, and the first building in the path on the west side of town is Parkersburg Lumber, a standard sheet metal industrial building. Seconds later, the
about to
tornado
get wiped out,
overtakes
dude.
Parkersburg Lumber, shredding the sheet metal into tiny pieces, while also bending the thick steel frame I-beams. The core of the tornado continues moving east along Highway 57. All buildings are completely demolished, and someone loses their life at a home next to the gas station.
R.I.P.
The tornado then overtakes Matt's Bar and Grill.
Oh, God, dude.
Simultaneously, a man north of town is recording the tornado as it barrels into the west side of Parkersburg.
Dude, it's just a big wall of cloud.
A mile to the south,
Just a big
businesses
cloud
and homes
rotating.
are shredded to pieces, forever changing the small Midwestern town.
Look at that stuff fly. Look at that junk fly.
What'd he say?
Despite taking a direct hit, everyone in the restaurant survives the encounter. The quick thinking to take shelter in the walk-in cooler undoubtedly saves the lives of the
A lot of things took place right there to save those people's lives. People were getting warned. You had spotters out there making the right calls to let people know that a tornado was coming. They issued the tornado warning. Instead of being complacent and just ignoring it, at least walk outside and see if anything's going on, you know? Take them seriously. They seen something, right? They went out, checked, seen something. They got in a safe spot, the best they can. walk-in cooler, man. These things must be well built. Well built. Glad save some lives, baby. Let's go.
family and restaurant staff. After impacting the bar, the tornado continues its march along Highway 57. The extreme debris-filled winds of the tornado levels multiple homes, killing 3 more residents just south of the highway. On the other side of the highway is First National Bank, which has multiple security cams running as the tornado overtakes the building. One camera is recording outside, and in the video you can see the dark mass of the tornado slowly consume a neighboring home.
Oh my God, it just ripped it apart.
Inside, multiple security cameras capture the moment the tornado overtakes the bank, showing what the chaos inside of a tornado really looks like. At the same time, resident Miles Humphrey and his wife are escaping the tornado in their car. Miles stops to take a photo of the tornado right as it's over Parkersburg. Fortunately, Miles and his wife escaped the tornado.
Look, yeah, you guys that have been here watching the tornado series with me, you know from the early get-go, I said that I would do this. I would hop in my car and leave. And I understand it's a bad idea, I to a degree. There's been several people get hurt, traffic jams. All I'm saying is, like, if you're in a small town like this and there's not a lot of traffic and you have a heads up and you see the tornado, you know what direction it's going, do as you please. No, I'm going to tell you to do the right thing. You get underground. If you have an underground shelter, get under it. If you know somebody with one and you can get there on time, get under it. If not, find the safest spot in the center of your home and bunker down. Me, we're going to be about 5 beers deep in the back of the pickup truck, baby. I'm just kidding.
To the east.
It was it. Do as I say, not as I do.
However, the tornado is still moving through the heart of town, now overtaking Parkersburg High School. Large sections of the building's roof collapse, and classrooms are strewn into piles of debris.
No
While
kids are in
damage at
there,
the
right?
high school is bad, the building is located on the north side of the tornado, which is the weaker side. Even worse damage occurs to the south of the high school. Here, Richard and Ethel Mulder are on their way to their basement when the tornado hits at EF5 strength, killing both along with their neighbor. These homes are so damaged that concrete
R.I.P.
basement walls are cracked, and according to records, all the people who died here were sheltering in their basements. In less than 2 minutes,
So they wasn't even safe underground? Was these underground basements? Let's rewind here and take a little look, just for science, right?
homes are so damaged that concrete
It doesn't look like these were underground, right? Partially, maybe? Like, you can see here on the left side where the truck is and stuff, then a portion of this basement was probably underground. The tornado just hit on the side that was not completely underground and caved that in. EF5 intensity.
basement walls are cracked, and according to records, all the people who died here were sheltering in their basements.
Did everything
In less than
right.
2 minutes, the destructive winds of the tornado wiped out the southern third of town. After exiting the east side of town, the tornado moves over the Legend Trail golf course, leaving significant ground scouring, while spreading tiny shards of debris from the buildings in Parkersburg. The tornado continues east over a field, leaving a trench in the ground for over 1 mile, a feat rarely ever documented in tornadoes. The tornado
For a whole mile? That's insane. Which tornado was it? Let me think. Was it Smithville that left like it was almost a foot deep for like 170 yards of ground scouring. I think it was Smithfield. Just in case I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, but correct me if I am in the comments below. I'm pretty sure it was. And that was insane. This one here did, I don't know if it was a foot deep, but anyways, to dig up a significant amount of earth for like a mile, crazy work.
tornado sustains its immense strength as it crosses Beaver Creek, pulping the forest, now moving towards the neighboring town of New Hartford. As the tornado moves along 325th Street, it impacts a few buildings, claiming its 8th victim, Norman Buthian. The tornado keeps its due
R.I.P.
easterly course and is on track to miss the small town of New Hartford to the north, which is fortunate because the tornado was larger than the entire town. However, it was now closing in.
Thank goodness. I didn't want another Greensburg situation on our hands. By the time you watch this one, I should have uploaded the Greensburg tornado. Oh my God. Another tornado that was bigger in a town. Luckily enough, these people here, they dodged a bullet.
On another group of homes on Beaver Valley Road, the tornado first overtakes Oak Hill Cemetery, where hundreds of gravestones are shattered to pieces. Immediately after the cemetery, the most violent winds on the south side of the tornado directly impact a home, sadly killing its 9th victim,
Damn,
Lisa
dude.
Bleeker,
R.I.P.
who was gruesomely killed by debris. Lisa's home is so violently destroyed it practically ceases to exist. The only things left are a few cinder blocks and debris that had been crushed into tiny particles. The tornado continues east along the road, and right at this time, Doug Christensen captures a set of photos of the tornado.
Dude, it's so eerie.
These photos show the
Look how dark it
evil
is out.
beast as it's at peak strength north of New Hartford. The tornado then deviates from its easterly course by turning to the north. This behavior is called an occlusion process, and it's a sign that the tornado is weakening. However, the tornado suddenly turns back to the south, showing that the occlusion process failed. This is rare. In most tornadoes, they turn to the north, and that's the last thing the tornado does.
We've seen
But
this a
it
couple.
continues
We played
back on
these
its
games
easterly
before.
course, moving along Beaver Creek Road. Fortunately, the tornado appears to have significantly weakened, as homes in this area show little signs of damage. The tornado then approaches the Cedar River, and right as it crosses the river, it tries to occlude again, but it fails the process for a second time. Tracking back east, the tornado is now on the northern side of the large town of Cedar Falls. A local records the tornado from their back porch. Visually, the tornado appears much weaker than it did earlier. Instead of a giant barrel-shaped tornado, it's now a dusty circulation with sporadic vortices.
That can be even more
There
dangerous.
is, however, another threat present. The winds wrapping around the backside of the tornado, known as the rear flank downdraft, are overspreading the north side of Cedar Falls, including the regional airport. These RFD winds are measured well in excess of 100 miles per hour, which are dangerous to anyone trapped outside because at those speeds flying debris can be deadly. After crossing Highway 218, the tornado persists over farm fields. For a third time, the tornado fails to occlude, and right as it crosses Highway 63, it has another.
Out of curiosity, I don't think I've ever asked this. Whenever the tornadoes are trying to weaken and go away, why do they cut north like that? Is there like a science behind that, or is that just a wild phenomenon that nobody really understands yet? Let me know. Like, I'm going to research it too, but one of my favorite things about this series is getting to talk to people and learn. It's been a blast. It really has. So, educate me, baby.
Erratic movement as it performs an abrupt S-curve, leaving this unique mark in the field. Shortly after, the tornado completes yet another loop, and for the 5th time, the tornado fails to die. At this point, the circulation was now north of the town of Dunkerton, exhibiting another
How long has this thing
strange
been on the
behavior
ground?
as it swells to a massive 1.2 miles wide,
Woo!
which is insanely impressive.
It's big.
Although damage here is relatively weak. Soon after, the tornado contracts in size, and after traveling over 40 miles in 70 minutes, killing 9 and injuring 70, the
Hour and
tornado
10 minutes
finally
on the
dies
ground, man.
southwest of Fairbank, Iowa. The tornado chaos had finally come to an end for the people of Iowa. Just kidding. Minutes after the Parkersburg tornado dies, another tornado travels over 30 miles while being accompanied by a secondary anticyclonic tornado to the south. The storm spawns yet another tornado before it completely outruns the unstable air and finally stops producing tornadoes. The sun sets, and the people of Iowa are left in darkness, having to recover from the tornado that devastated the town of Parkersburg.
Lord have mercy.
In the days following the tornado, the community came together to help pick up the pieces, and it wasn't just the people of Parkersburg. People from all over northern Iowa showed up to help. The town quickly established a mobile recovery center to help victims with their daily needs, and those without homes were swiftly adopted by their neighbors who still had shelter. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service came in to survey the damage, and it didn't take long before they determined that this tornado was way beyond EF5 strength, so a team of outside engineers was called in to assist the survey. Ultimately, they found that the damage from the tornado was consistent with the EF5 guidelines on both the east side of Parkersburg and the north side of New Hartford. In the months following, the National Weather Service launched an investigation of their actions from that day to see how they could improve moving forward. This
Nothing wrong with that.
investigation produced a lengthy 51-page report, and they found some interesting things. One finding was that their wording
And, I think part of this too, that doesn't mean anybody was wrong. They're just dedicated to trying to figure out what they can do better to save lives. Nothing wrong with that at all, man. WW.
in the tornado warning prior to Parkersburg may have been slightly too modest, and the SPC outlook from the morning did not predict that a violent tornado was possible in Iowa, which are valid criticisms. But in my opinion, weather is so chaotic, you can't really blame a forecast, and things like the wording on a tornado warning are pretty inconsequential. The most crucial thing that can be done to save lives is to sound the tornado siren in time, warning the people downstream of the tornado to get to cover. And according to the report, the tornado sirens were in fact sounded. However, the two videos taken as the tornado is entering town do not have any sirens this is directly contradictory to the report,
is
which
true.
states that the sirens were sounded 2 minutes prior to the tornado entering town. Regardless, this doesn't change the fact that 1/3 of the town of Parkersburg was destroyed, and 9 people lost their lives. And according to records, all the victims were in their basements when they died. So, all of them seem to have been aware of the tornado, took action, but it still wasn't enough. Over the
All right. 9 people, RIP, man. RIP. And they even did what they were supposed to do. You know, they went through their basement. They got to the safest place they could get to. It just wasn't enough. And that just goes to show you, man, like with these, you know, EF4 and EF5 tornadoes, they're just so strong. So strong. And sometimes it doesn't matter if you're in a super well-built home. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're in an underground shelter. You know, that's happened. It's ripped them out of the ground. It's just, they're so dangerous, man. Your best spot's honestly underground. That rarely happens. You know, people are, and it makes it's already sad, but it gets even more sad whenever people were doing the right thing, man. People were trying to do the right thing. RIP to them. You know, I'm sorry to the families and their loss. Man, what can you say? It's just sad. It's so sad. And as far as like the weather, you know, channel and the weather, you know, our meteorologist and so on and so forth. That's good to, and you know, not only investigate yourself per se, but to look in, to take a situation, to look at it and be like, what can we do better? W them. W them, man. That's great. That's why in this day and age now, you know, our warning times have greatly increased. Most of the time, it's very rare for a storm like that to go unwarned. You know, there's at least something out there to let you know that, like, hey, this can get bad. And not just, you know, from the weather station, but other forms like, you know, YouTube, Ryan Hall. I'm not sure if he's a meteorologist or not. He could be. He might not be. Either way, it seems like he does great work. He's always talking about the potential for big storms and so on and so forth. Just a lot more technology out there. And the reason we got there is because of situations like this where people took it seriously and asked an important question. What can I do better? So W them, man. W them. Whoever builds these walk-in coolers, you might be in the wrong business. You might need to be making some tornado shelters. I'm just saying. Because it saved lives, man. To our storm chasers and spotters, great job, man. I didn't hear the siren going off there, but you know, you can't make everything happen, but you seen it coming. You called ahead. You warned people. You did all the right things, and you saved lives. Because the people that were leaving that diner went out, they seen the warning, they checked, they seen the tornado, they got to safety. You save lives. Don't just be a storm chaser. Just don't be one of those that sits there and looks. Be proactive. Call ahead. Warn people. And after, you know, a tornado passes through a bad area, help. Stop and help, man. Get some first aid training or something if you're going to be involved in those activities. You never know, man. It could be in you. It could be you in that situation. You might be needing help one day. So be helpful. But a great job, man. I hate that 9 people passed away there. And what's crazy is they were all trying to get to the safe space in their house. They were all in the basement. And they were warned. They knew the storm was coming. That's why they got down there. It's just, sometimes the tornado is just too strong. It's just too strong. But I'm going to stop yapping, dude. I appreciate you all for recommending this video. You know who you are. Thank you all for all the support during this series. It's been a great learning experience. I'm thankful for each and every one of you that's made some suggestions and critiqued me, you know, or educated me. A lot of you guys come in and shared personal stories, and it's crazy, man. There's been a lot of people out there that's went through some of these tornadoes and have personal stories, and have moved away from the areas because of it. I don't blame you. But once again, I thank all of you. I wish you safety out there. Stay away from them naders, okay? But I am cheap. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And we'll catch you in the next one.